Have you ever walked into a room and felt something shift, an invisible current in the air thick with emotion, as if the space itself whispered secrets only your soul could hear? Have you ever wondered why a simple melody can move you to tears, or why certain people seem to radiate an energy that lingers long after they've gone? This is not imagination. It is the pulse of something ancient, unseen, and profoundly real. It is what mystics once called magic, not the kind with wands and fireworks, but a deeper force, one that dwells within you. Main body, rewritten with more vivid imagery, depth and 20% expansion. The word magic carries with it echoes of something both mysterious and intimately familiar. It stirs memories of long-lost myths, whispers of forgotten rituals, and the quiet ache for something more. When we hear tales of magicians, witches, or sorcerers in films, books, and ancient legends, we're transported into a universe where the impossible becomes possible, where reality bends, time stretches, and fate can be rewritten. But this begs the real question: what is magic truly? Is it merely fantasy? Or could it be a hidden truth that has survived through the veils of culture and time, misunderstood but never fully extinguished? For any true seeker, this is where the journey begins. To explore this mystery, we must first let go of the theatrical illusions that have clouded its meaning. Magic is not a glittering spectacle nor a dramatic flick of the wrist. It is not about controlling others or casting shadows. Above all, it is a path of self-transformation. Think of your daily life. Have you ever suddenly felt uncomfortable around someone without knowing why? Or walked into a space that made your skin crawl, as if something unseen was watching? And what about those moments when a single song floods your heart with emotion, nostalgia, sorrow, joy, so overwhelming it pulls you into another time, another version of yourself? These aren't coincidences. They are vibrational echoes of something deeper, proof that the world we live in is not made of mere solid matter, but of subtle energies, waves, and frequencies. We are not just living in a world, we are swimming in a sea of unseen forces, constantly exchanging information, emotion, and intention. This is where true magic begins. It begins in the realization that reality isn't fixed, it's fluid. Not a dead object, but a living field of vibration where thoughts, emotions, and energy all interact in a complex dance. Colors, sounds, sensations, what we perceive as solid and real, are actually manifestations of deeper energetic patterns. And those patterns, they are shaped by the mind, your beliefs, your emotional wounds, your deepest desires. These act like lenses, coloring everything you see and experience. In a very real way, your life is a mirror reflecting the invisible architecture of your inner world. This is not just a poetic metaphor. It's the foundation of ancient esoteric systems, from Hermeticism to Eastern mysticism. The outer world reflects the inner world. Change the internal pattern, and the external world shifts in response. That's why the magician's journey is not about bending the world to their will. It's about transforming the self so deeply that the world can't help but respond. Section: the magician's mirror. Every true magician knows to master magic, you must first master yourself. To become a vessel through which subtle energy flows, you must clear the blockages within: old fears, false beliefs, emotional scars. The practice of magic becomes a form of spiritual hygiene, a daily dialogue with the unseen realms, and an ongoing process of purification. It's not for the faint of heart, because when you commit to this path, your shadows rise to meet you, but so do your gifts. Through this process, the magician becomes a bridge between heaven and earth, a conscious channel for divine energy to manifest in the material world. Section: the alchemical roots of magic, expanded and refined. From the earliest days of humanity, this path of transformation has been symbolized through the sacred science of alchemy. Many today still associate alchemy with medieval laboratories obsessed with turning lead into gold or seeking the mythical elixir of life. But these images are mere metaphors. Real alchemy is not a physical science, it's a spiritual art. It teaches us that transformation doesn't begin outside, it begins within. Alchemy views the human being as composed of three essential aspects: body, mind, and spirit, each a key part of the transformational process. Let's explore them. 1. The body, the sacred cauldron. The body isn't just a container for the soul, It's the alchemical vessel where raw experience is refined into wisdom. Think of it as a crucible where the fires of life burn away the impurities, the aches, the pleasures, the rhythms of breath and heartbeat. These are not random biological accidents. They are messages. They are materials. To the alchemist, the body is sacred. Through respectful rituals like mindful eating, movement, rest, and connection to nature, the body becomes a stable foundation for deeper work. 2. The mind, Sham. The inner laboratory. If the body is the cauldron, the mind is the laboratory where transformation truly begins. But most of us inherit mental patterns like unwanted furniture beliefs that limit thoughts, that sabotage stories, that repeat. Alchemy teaches that these patterns are the mental lead we must transmute. How? Through meditation, introspection, and the cultivation of inner virtues. As the mind becomes clear, it starts to resonate with higher vibrations, truth, beauty, courage, compassion. And from this elevated state, new realities are born. 3. The spirit, the hidden gold. Finally, the spirit. Unlike the body and mind, the spirit is not something to fix or refine. It is already perfect, an eternal spark of the divine. But like gold buried deep in stone, it must be uncovered. That is the alchemist's ultimate goal, to peel away illusion until the true self is revealed. When body and mind are brought into harmony, the spirit shines through effortlessly. This is when magic flows not as an act, but as a state of being. Section: the alchemical stages of inner transformation. The ancient alchemists mapped this internal journey in symbolic stages. These weren't just chemical processes, they were metaphors for the evolution of consciousness. Negredo blackness, the dark night of the soul. This is the beginning where the ego is dissolved and the seeker confronts their deepest fears. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. Albedo whiteness, a phase of purification and clarity. The light begins to pierce through and the seeker reconnects with their higher essence. Citrinitas, yellowness, illumination dawns. Wisdom integrates. The alchemist becomes aware of their role as a conscious co-creator of reality. Rubedo redness, the final stage union of body, mind, and spirit. This is where the transformation is complete. The lead has become gold. The soul has awakened. Closing reflection. Magic isn't a trick. It's not a secret to be bought or sold. It is a sacred relationship between your inner world and the cosmos, a dance of energy, intention, and revelation. It begins with self-awareness and ends in communion with the infinite. The world is not waiting to be changed. It's waiting for you to remember who you really are. So the question remains, are you ready to become the magician of your own life? As we step further into the mysteries of true magic, something profound begins to happen. We start to awaken to a startling realization. Everything we experience, whether it lifts us up or drags us down, is not random. It is the direct result of our own choices. This is the beginning of true enlightenment. The initiate, someone just beginning this sacred path, starts to see that life itself is a mirror. Each event, each emotion, each twist of fate is a reflection of the energy they put out into the world. In truth, we are all magicians journeying through different stages of spiritual evolution. And with this awareness comes a double-edged truth. As we navigate the realms of light and shadow, of virtue and temptation, we come face to face with the raw materials of our inner world. Here lies the potential to become something more, an alchemist, a conscious architect of our own reality. But how do we bring such lofty ideas down into the rhythm of daily life? The answer is both simple and powerful. Alchemy is in the choices we make, the challenges we face, and the inner work we commit to each day. When you break free from a destructive habit, you are practicing alchemy. When anger arises but you choose compassion, or when sorrow threatens to overtake you, but you instead embrace acceptance, you are transmuting base emotions, turning inner lead into spiritual gold. That is the sacred art of inner transformation. Alchemy is not limited to ancient texts or secret rituals. It lives in your capacity to feel, to learn, to change. By fully engaging with physical experiences, we begin to understand the fundamental law of cause and effect. In this understanding, we gain the power to reshape our reality not through force, but through emotional mastery and conscious intent. This timeless art of transformation, refining the raw heavy matter of consciousness into radiant awareness, is the essence of true magic. It is here that the teachings of history's greatest alchemists and mystics still echo with clarity. Take Paracelsus, for example, one of the Renaissance's most enigmatic figures. His full name, Philippus Aurelius Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim, hints at the depth of his character. A physician alchemist and mystic, Paracelsus challenged the dogmas of his era, introducing a revolutionary view of medicine grounded in alchemy and vital energy. To Paracelsus, health wasn't just about treating symptoms, it was about restoring balance between body, mind, and spirit. He saw the universe as a divine apothecary filled with natural remedies. But only those who understood nature's symbolic language, the language of signs and correspondences, could unlock its secrets. This belief gave rise to the doctrine of signatures, which proposed that the form of a plant or mineral often revealed its healing properties. His famous motto, "He who knows nothing of himself knows nothing of the universe," speaks volumes. For Paracelsus, self-knowledge was not a luxury, it was the foundation of all true wisdom. Another towering figure of occult philosophy was Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, a brilliant Renaissance thinker, whose work shaped the very core of Western esoteric thought. Born in 1486, Agrippa wore many hats: philosopher, alchemist, theologian, and ceremonial magician. His masterwork, De Occulta Philosophia, the occult philosophy, is still considered one of the most significant books ever written on ceremonial magic. In its pages, Agrippa explored the complex interplay between astrology, the Kabbalah, and alchemy. To him, magic was a sacred science, a bridge between the physical and the divine. He believed that every element in the universe, every star, plant, and mineral reflected deeper spiritual truths. The material world in his eyes was a mirror of the invisible, a symphony of correspondences where nothing was truly separate. His legacy would go on to influence centuries of magical practice and spiritual inquiry. And then there was John Dee, the royal astrologer to Queen Elizabeth I and one of the most mysterious minds of the 16th century. Dee was a mathematician, alchemist, and mystic who believed he could speak with angels. Through his work with the medium, Edward Kelly Dee developed a system known as Enochian magic, which combined divine languages, magical grids, and spiritual invocations. His journal, Liber Logique Fede, the Book of God's Speech, recorded these angelic communications. Dee believed that through this divine dialogue, he could unlock sacred knowledge for the betterment of all humanity. But such a path was not without peril. Dee lived a life on the edge, celebrated by some as a genius, condemned by others as a dangerous sorcerer. His story reminds us that the pursuit of spiritual truth often leads one into both glory and shadow. In the 19th century, another powerful voice rose to challenge conventional thought: Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, co-founder of the Theosophical Society. She introduced the West to the profound depth of Eastern esoteric traditions, unveiling a vision where all religions, sciences, and mystical paths ultimately converged. Her works, The Secret Doctrine and Isis Unveiled, presented a grand cosmology, one that connected magic, spirituality, and science in a unified whole. Blavatsky believed that ancient wisdom, preserved across ages by mystics and sages, held the keys to human evolution. According to her, anyone could access higher dimensions of reality if they dared to pierce the veils of illusion. We cannot speak of modern magic without honoring Eliphas Lévi, born Alphonse Louis Constant. A mystic and writer, Lévi's influence shaped nearly every esoteric order that followed him. His book Dogma and Ritual of High Magic revived ceremonial magic in the 19th century and reintroduced the magician as not just a spellcaster, but a philosopher of the sacred. Lévi was among the first to draw deep connections between the tarot and the Kabbalah, helping decode ancient symbols for modern seekers. He also gave us the iconic image of Baphomet, representing the union of opposites, the harmony of dualities within us all. To Lévi, magic was the spiritual science of transformation. It was not fantasy, but a path of self-discovery, discipline, and communion with higher truth. In its truest form, magic is not an illusion or escape. It is the sacred mystery that binds the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine, the finite and the eternal. It calls us not to believe blindly, but to awaken, sharpen our perception, and feel the rhythm beneath the material world. Magic at its core is the alchemy of the soul. It is the courage to transmute fear into wisdom, shadow into illumination, and longing into divine purpose. It reminds us that life itself is a sacred laboratory, and we, the seekers, are its eternal students. And so the journey continues. With every step inward, we draw closer to the truth that we are not just passive observers in this vast universe. We are creators, magicians shaping reality through the clarity of our will and the purity of our hearts.